on to a diplomatic spat now that is unfolding in Canada as the country expelled a top Indian official on Monday, which was met on Tuesday with New Delhi expelling a Canadian diplomat as well. This is during a parliament session. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau alleged that India may have had links to the assassination of a Sikh activist. On the 18th of June, Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a strong supporter of an independent Sikh homeland known as Khalistan, was gunned down outside a cultural centre in British Columbia. Trudeau said that Canadian intelligence agencies have been looking into the allegations of India's possible involvement. The Prime Minister added that he brought up the slaying with Indian Prime Minister Niranjan Marjani at the G20 summit last week in New Delhi, an accusation that India has rejected as, quote, absurd.
Any involvement of a foreign government in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is an unacceptable violation of our sovereignty. It is contrary to the fundamental rules by which free, open, and democratic societies conduct themselves. As you would expect, we've been working closely and coordinating with our allies on this very serious matter.
Let's cross now live to West India, where I am joined by Niranjan Marjani, a political analyst and researcher. Good morning to you. How did this whole story actually unfold, and why is India calling on Canada to take legal action against anti-Indian elements operating from its soil instead?
This is a very complex issue between India and Canada, and particularly it pertains to India's national security. Now, there is a large Sikh diaspora in Canada, and particularly since the 70s, as the Khalistani movement has emerged, Canada has been a base of a number of these Khalistani supporters and members who want a separate country for Sikhs in India. So the issue about the Khalistanis, it is directly related to India's sovereignty and territorial integrity, because for last 4 decades, Pakistan has been supporting the Khalistani movement against India, and we have seen a lot of violence and terrorist activities in Indian state of Punjab, which the Khalistanis want to be an independent country. So this issue, along with involvement of Pakistan, now Canada is also projected by India as an active supporter of this movement. About a meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Trudeau, then Modi did raise this point with his Canadian counterpart, and also there are differences between both the countries on the issue of freedom of speech and democracy, because Canada says its support to Khalistan is about freedom of speech. They have right to express their views, but India says that expressing one's views does not mean that any group or any person can compromise security and territorial integrity of any other country, which India sees as Khalistan is doing in Canada. There was also an event held in Canada where there was a tableau portraying assassination of former Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, about which India did raise the same with Canada. But still, the differences persist between both the sides, and there doesn't seem to be any dialogue or any negotiation or any kind of settlement that could really satisfy both the sides at the moment.
Now, although there are different situations, this does seem slightly reminiscent of the Jamal Khashoggi affair in Saudi Arabia. Now, one international analyst I spoke to earlier called the Canada-India incident far worse because it happened on Canadian soil and not a third party. We've already seen both the United Kingdom and another Commonwealth nation, Australia, commenting on the matter. Do you tend to agree here? Is this being seen as a worse situation than what we saw a few years ago with regards to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Jamal Khashoggi?
India has refuted Canada's allegations in the first place about this killing of this Khalistani activist, like a Khalistani leader. But I think the issue between India and Canada, yes, one thing is certain, the bilateral relations have been deteriorating, and the Khalistan issue has been a major contributor, because India feels that because there is a large Sikh diaspora, out of which there are a number of Khalistani supporters, and they hold some influence in Canadian politics. That's why Prime Minister is unwilling to do anything or take any action against them, as it could affect their electoral prospects. That is what India's view is. But yes, overall bilateral relations have not been very cordial, and this has even affected the trade between the two countries, where a free trade agreement is now put on hold. So I don't think it could compare with the Jamal Khashoggi issue, since this is bilateral relations, and there is no evidence which is linking India directly, as India has said. And these are just allegations. Nothing has been proven yet. So I think both the sides need to work together, but at the same time, Canada also needs to be sensitive of India's concerns, because it does affect India's security, as we have seen in the past, like about 4 decades back.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, innocent until proven guilty appears to be the verdict here, and more eyes are going to be focusing on the story, especially as India is becoming a more prominent power in the world and as tensions between the two nations continue to sour. Niranjan Marjani, a political analyst and researcher, joining me from West India. Thank you very much for your time and analysis.